Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Out of ammo, out of time. I'm your host Krabby Terror 8 as always, and here we are in season 2 episode 23 of the Investigator games with everybody's favorite private investigator, Joe Diamond. Yes, and it has been a while since the Investigator games has been back at the Midnight Masks. That's because Fantasy Flight Games went and gave us all these new investigators. So we had to go back to the Gathering for a while and play the Gathering, which we did. But we are now back here at the Midnight Masks with Joe Diamond. And yes, it's been a long time between drinks. Joe was getting very annoyed that he was having to wait because he thought he was going to go ahead and do the Investigator games, and then it got delayed, so he got very annoyed. But he did have a couple of cases that he needed to look at in between, so it wasn't that terrible. So here we are, yes, and for those of you who are new to the channel, I welcome you heartily. What is the Investigator games? Well, it's like the Hunger Games, except we take each investigator true solo and we throw them into a scenario and see how they go. Now, in Season 1, all the investigators, yes, all 44 of them, have done the Gathering with their official Fantasy Flight Game starter decks. And now they're going through the Midnight Masks, and at the end of this campaign we will see who is the reigning champion investigator and gets showered in glory and wealth, and the ones who will hang their heads in shame. Now, if you haven't seen the Joe and indeed the others in the first season, I would recommend that you do that first. Joe did reasonably well in the first season. He got 6 XP, he got Lita Chandler, and he defeated the Ghoul Priest. So he did pretty well with his starter deck, much better than others. And we can see in terms of the Midnight Mask, though, just because you did well in the Gathering does not mean that you do particularly well in the Midnight Mask, because it's a very different scenario, and you can see here on this league table quite a difference in terms of who's at the top and who's not doing so well. And we can see that actually the fighters have done quite well. I'm not surprised Ash Campete is up the top, but we can see Roland Banks very consistent, and also Leo Anderson. In fact, Leo Anderson is topping the table at the moment with a massive 15 points. He managed to get 5 cultists by turn 14 and more victory points besides. So he is doing really well. Now, Roland Banks also got 5 cultists, but did that in 13 turns. And I think 13 turns for 5 cultists is sort of the fastest outcome if you want to sort of measure it that way. Lola did okay, but the Midnight Bells did toll for her. And then if we go right down the bottom to the people at the bottom, unfortunately, Carolyn Fern, Jim Culver, poor old Jim never seems to he didn't do very well in the Gathering either. And Calvin Wright are all down the bottom. Now, the points here on the league table include the points from the Gathering, so it's the carryover points to get the total points here, as you can see. So, yes, we can see that those who, I guess, of course, who do a little bit better in solo, of course, are doing relatively better here as well, as you would expect, whereas more support kind of characters, your Father Mateos or your Daisy Walkers, for example, down the bottom, and then not surprisingly Calvin also languishing down the bottom. He's quite hard to play, obviously, as a solo character. So yeah, so that's where we are. Like I said, please watch how Joe did in the first one. Now, I'm assuming you know this scenario well, and that Arkham Horror, the card game, at least a bit. I recognise some people might be here just to see Joe play in the Midnight Masks, but if you are brand new to the Arkham Horror, the card game, please play it in real life. There are also tons of introductory videos on how to play. I'm assuming you know how to play at least a little bit. Just a little reminder to everybody about Joe Diamond himself. He's he is the private investigator. He is traded detective. Now, if we look at his stat line, we can see that he's a bit polarized in his stat line. Very strong intellect and very strong fight with 4, and then relatively weak agility and willpower at 2. So we can see that, fighting and indeed investigation, a bit like Roland, is relatively strong. Where Joe's going to suffer is he's not going to be evading things, first of all. In some campaigns, like Forgotten Age and things like that, having low agility can have some consequences outside of not being able to evade. But generally, not being able to evade is no big deal, generally. Now, willpower is more problematic because when coupled with his relatively low intellectual strength, he's on 6. That means that the encounter deck can deal him quite a bit of a problem because there's quite a lot of and in other campaigns, Dunwich Legacy campaigns and others, Carcosa, there tends to be a fair number of cards in the encounter deck which get you to test your willpower, and you would take horror should you fail that. So you always want to have a couple of guts on hand to kind of shore that up. But that's probably the thing about Joe Diamond that can be problematic, is that relatively low willpower. Now, he has this very unique special ability, which is force. When the investigation phase begins, we've got to try and remember this, reveal the top card of your hunch deck, and until the end of the phase you may play that card as if it were in your hand at a -2 cost. So that's a great discount on those cards. But the problem is do you get the right card at the right time? So the problem with the hunch deck is that you can often draw a card, but it's just not the right time, and then if you don't use it, it just shuffles back into the hunch deck. That's the way it works. His Eld Sign effect is a nice +1, and you can move an insight event from your discard pile to the bottom of your hunch deck. So it just allows you to keep your hunch deck going a bit longer with some extra cards. That's kind of okay. So interesting kind of dynamic there. I'm not sure that Joe is one of the more popular investigators. I'm not sure that the hunch deck is something that people find particularly helpful. I mean, essentially, it's just an extra optional card that you have each round, if you like, or each investigation phase. So it's okay, but it's not, it doesn't set the world on fire, I don't think. Okay. Now the other thing is as I said, with people like Joe Diamond, set up with their official Fantasy Flight games at starter decks, which are never optimized, and there's a good reason for that. The reason that they're not is that they assume you've got the base game, and then you've got the expansion, which aligns with the particular investigator. So that does mean that the starter decks are not optimized. They're not meant to be, but that seemed like the fairest and best way for all the investigators, and they agreed when they signed up to be part of the investigator games, that's the way it would be. Now, I did make some changes with the 6XP that Joe had, as you can see on the screen now. And really, it's usually a case of kind of cleaning up and streamlining the deck, as to really lean into their strengths. And this time was no exception. So I took out First Aid, I took out Dynamite Blast. Look, I like Dynamite Blast. It can come in handy sometimes, but it's very expensive. I took out the Old Book of Law, Research Librarian, Medical Text, and Barricade. I mean, I just really wanted to lean into other things. So instead, I now have 245 automatics. I've added in a machete now. This is not taboo. It's hard enough playing with the starter decks without adding taboo in there. Added in a dodge, added in a vicious blow, added in another Dr. Milan Christopher, so we now have 2 of him. Added working a hunch into the into the what's it called? His hunch deck, working a hunch deck. And yeah, so those were the main changes. So the hunch deck, I didn't change that much, even though some of the cards I'm not like interrogate. I'm not really overly keen on. It's a bit too situational for me. But we can see that we've really boosted up our weaponry into the 45 automatic and the machete. Yeah, and then we've got 2 Malign Christophers. We've got 2 Vicious Blows. So, yeah, pretty good. Amnesia is our random weakness that we drew in the gathering. So, yeah, there we go. Don't know what you think about all of that. I'm not going to... In the gathering, I go through the cards in more detail. But I have been doing that in the Midnight Mass. I'm assuming you know these cards reasonably well, and they haven't changed that much from there. So if you look at that one, you'll see more of an explanation of the various cards and how they work. Because in this case, I was just adding cards that already existed. It's not like I was putting in any brand new cards. Possibly after Midnight Mass, when we go to Devour Below, I might actually be able to put in some new cards, but it was more about plugging the gaps and streamlining what we had. I had a chat to Joe in the trailer. Thank you for Miskatonic Trailers for their hire. He's just there standing in the house, and we're very lucky that the local council around Arkham has allowed us to use the roads and locations for Midnight Masks. I mean, as I said before, the problem is we have to get up pretty early because we have to have it all done and dusted by 7 a.m. before the morning rush hour. Not that Arkham is known for having much of a rush hour, but that's a stipulation by the council, which is fair enough. So I had a chat to Joe with a couple of glasses of scotch. He was pretty happy with the way he did in the first scenario. I think he's fairly confident because I think he thinks that he's got the goods to beat Leo. He knows Leo; they're buddies, drinking buddies actually. So you can find them at Zanzibar. Yeah, there's a bar in Arkham called Zanzibar. Every town and city should have a bar called Zanzibar. It's just, it's a pun that just, it's a gift that keeps on giving. So yes, you can find them at Zanzibar most weekends, and often during the week as well, swapping war stories. Sometimes Roland joins them as well, although it's often, people say that, but I have to say, I have never seen Roland Banks and Joe Diamond in the same room. So I don't know. I wonder about that. But anyway, there we go. So yes, Roland, I called him Roland then. Joe Diamond is waiting at the house. Now, a couple of people have mentioned, I think I've said this in other videos, I'm not quite following what's supposed to happen in the outcome of the gathering. For example, if you've got Lita, then you probably should have the house burned down. I'm just trying to think about that. The reason I've got it the way that I have is just so it's standardized for all investigators. I recognize that I'm not quite following the path of the campaign in terms of what you have and haven't. But rather than having some people without the house, with the house, I think it's only fair in the investigator games that everybody has the same things. So there we have it. We're all set up in Octagon, of course, on standard difficulty. And I think we are ready to go in the Midnight Masks with Joe Diamond. So here we are, ready to roll. Here we are at the house. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Well, it's the Midnight Mask, of course. So a couple of things that we want. Malign Christopher would be great. That would really allow us to really get going with our clues. But any of the allies would be fine. Obviously, a weapon would be also welcome. And some kind of way to enhance our clue-getting ability would also be great. something like the fingerprint kit and various things like that. So that would all be fantastic. Now, when the investigation revealed the top of the hunch deck. So here we go. We start with connect the dots. There we go. So there you go. That's quite a good card normally, but not really great at the beginning. So this perfectly illustrates the situational problem with the hunch deck. Great card. You can't commit the card for its pips either. It's just you can just play the card. So that would be kind of more helpful in some ways. But anyway, it's not going to be very helpful at this stage. But that's all right. Okay, let's draw up our 5 cards. See what we get. Okay, well, we've got Lita Chandler straight off the bat. One of the things that I definitely will be putting into Joe's deck for the final will be a charisma. He's got so many allies. Got a flashlight, curiosity. Yeah, that's one way of shoring up those that low willpower. A machete and a physical training. Yeah, not bad. And physical training helps with that as well. Well, Lita Chandler doesn't cost anything to put out, which is really rather nice. Flashlight is good for some locations. Curiosity is good, machete is good. I don't like physical training though. I think we probably ditch physical training and probably draw again, and we get vicious blow. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that as a start. The only thing is money can be an issue, but luckily Lita Chandler doesn't cost anything. So, for example, if we had the beat cop and we had the machete, we'd be really struggling from that perspective. So what are we going to do here? Well, we've got 3 actions to start with, of course. First action, let's bring out Lita. Why not? Okay. The fight's nice and chunky now. So we will be definitely looking forward to seeing the Masked Hunter. Second action is obviously predictable as well. We will spend 3. And we'll bring out the machete. Is there a way of just revealing the top? No. Oh, visibility. Oh, no. Okay. So that's 2 of our actions. Third action, I could gain a card and a resource. Yeah, or do I... I might do that. Third action, I'm going to gain a card and a resource. So I get the 45 as well. Wow, and I get a resource. But 45 is a bit expensive at the moment. So we will keep that ready just in case. Very curious pip here on the 45. I've never quite understood why it's an evasion pip. But anyway, never mind. Okay, so those were our 3 actions to start with. And the other reason I just realized that it was good to draw another card is curiosity. When you have 4 or more cards in hand, it gains it. If I'd only had 3 cards, it would have just been standard. So that's also good in case we draw something nasty from the encounter deck. So what did we do? We brought out Lita Chandler. So we're now fighting at 5. We brought out the machete as well. So if it's a monster enemy, we're doing... with the machete, we are doing 3 points of damage each time, so massive damage. So we brought out the machete, and then we drew, and then we used this ability. We drew a card and gained a resource, and that's us done. So next time we'll get this resource, get ourselves up to Rivertown, and get out the first cultist. Okay. So we'll move it. That was the investigation phase. We will move into the enemy phase, or the enema phase, as I like to call it. And there are no enemas to speak of course. So we will move into upkeep, and we get deduction. Very nice. I mean, deduction is obviously better in multiplayer, but there are locations on Midnight Mass with 2 clues, as there were in the Gathering, so that's great. That's a very, very handy card. Makes us nice and efficient. Okay, so we move into the first mythos phase, the phase we all know and love, and we will see and adore. Now, I can't remember if I shuffled up the encounter deck, but I'll do it now. So shuffle up the encounter deck, and let's see how we go with our first encounter. Hello? First encounter. Well, Wizard of the Order. Well, we can't have him hanging around. Good job we brought out Machete. He is going to feel so much pain. He is going down. We'll put him in Rivertown. He thought a nice holiday to Rivertown would be a thing to do. He's got no idea what's going to befall him very quickly. And we put a doom on him. Yeah, you got to get rid of the Wizard of the Order because the doom just keeps racking up and you can't let that happen. And I don't need to in this case. And he's pretty easy to kill, so we should be fine. Okay. So that's the mythos phase. So we move in to the investigation phase and 3 actions onto good old Joe. Well, we know what we're doing now, so we will spend our first action and we will investigate the house. So it's a 2 and we are a 4. I think we just do that one straight up. 2 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a 0, so that's fine. We get the clue. Don't need Malign Christopher. Who needs Malign Christopher? So that's great. Second action, we will move up to Rivertown. And we will engage the Ghoul Priest, who's looking longingly and lovingly at the river. And we run up and smash him in the back of the head with the machete. Just about spoiled his day. So here we go. We are fighting. We're a 4/5 fight. He's not a monster. Actually, do we get a +1? We do, but we don't do the +1 damage because he's not a monster. He's a humanoid. And I've just realized, yes, you're all screaming at me. I forgot to reshuffle and draw my hunch deck. This is going to be a problem, but we wouldn't be using this anyway. Delay the inevitable. Yeah, no, I don't really want to spend my resources on that just at the moment. So, okay, so where were we? We are fighting. So he's a 4 and we are a 4. We're a 5. We're a 6. So a 6 versus a 4. 6 versus a 4. Now, I could use something like Vicious Blow, but I don't want to waste that. So I think we just go ahead and do 6 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a skull. And a skull is -1. So we succeed. We succeed 5 versus 4. So the Wizard of the Order dies. 2 points of damage. Gone. Great. And we're in Rivertown. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, we're in Rivertown. I really like this update on Octagon where it actually puts the clues down for you. That's very nice. So, yeah, we got the clue at the house. We moved to Rivertown. We killed the Wizard of the Order. So that's all good. So next time we can get this clue and get the first cultist out because, of course, time is of the essence in the Midnight Masks, as we know. Time is a really essential resource in this. So efficiency is incredibly prioritized in Midnight Masks in that way. Okay, so let's move into the enemy phase. Of course, there was an enemy, but now there are no enemies to speak of, so we can move straight into upkeep and we get a doge. No, not a doge, a dodge. Close. We get a dodge, which could come in handy. Does the Mass Hunter have Retaliate? I always forget. Or is it the Ghoul Priest with Retaliate? Anyway, so there we go. There's the upkeep phase. So we move into the second Mythos phase. 2 Doom down, third of the way through. Let's see what the good old encounter deck has. Geez, it's just one thing after another, and this is an Acolyte. So we're going to put the Acolyte somewhere. We'll probably put him in... Where are we going to put him? Because deduction... Do we put him at Miskatonic U and try and get the 2 and a victory point? That might be worthwhile. Let's put him at Miskatonic University with a doom on him. So we will seek to... Actually, is that so smart? Because I've just realised if we get Peter Warren, then we're dealing with... that's fine, actually. We'll kill him pretty easily, so I think it's fine. Okay. All right, so there we go. There's cultists. Okay. All right, so we will move into the investigation phase. We will draw from the hunch deck, and we draw mind over matter, which again, handy card sometimes, just not right now. That's the problem with the hunch deck. Sometimes it aligns with what you're doing, and sometimes it doesn't. So, like I said, if you could play the pips on it, maybe better. But yeah. Okay. So, sorry, when I say play, I mean commit the cards. Okay. So the first action, we've got 3 actions. First action, we're going to investigate Rivertown. It's a 1. We're a 4. 1 versus 4. Let's see what Chaos Bag says. Chaos Bag gives us a cultist. -2. Place 1 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Ooh. Okay. Hello? Yeah, so that's 2, 4. We're going to have to kill him. Yep. But we succeed. There you go. I could bring out a cultist, but I'm actually now a bit nervous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to Miskatonic University. Flip that. It's 4 Shroud, 2 clue location. And I'm going to attack this cultist with my third action. Yeah, so our third action, we will hit the cultist. He's not a monster, but we get 6. And he's only 1. So 6 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a 0, so he's dead. Yeah, I just think it's better rather than, who knows what's going to come up in the encounter deck, and I just don't need an Acolyte with 2 Doom on them. You just cannot afford for that to happen. So there we go. Yeah, so barring some disastrous Mythos draw, we will bring out the cultist, and then we'll get 2 more clues, and then we can bring out another cultist. So that's what we'll aim to do. The thing about Joe is a bit like Roland, quite efficient in that way. We didn't use Mind Over. In fact, I could have used Mind Over Matter, couldn't I? But I didn't. So there we go. Shuffle that up. Okay. So let's see what happens now. We move into the enema phase. There was an enemy, but there again, it's Joe Diamond, Cultist Killer. Gone. Move into upkeep, and we get another Viscous Blow. We're up to 7 cards, so not too bad, but 2 Vicious Blows. I can't wait to see the Masked Hunter's face. He's going to be, hopefully he's worn his brown pants today. So there we go. We'll move into the Mythos phase. It is now turn 4. There are 3 Doom down. We're halfway through, and no cultists are out yet. So we do need to get a move on with that. But before we do that, let's see what we get. False Lead. If you have no clues, False Lead gains Surge. Surge is here. But we do. So we test 4. Okay. I don't want to lose my clues. So test 4 versus 4 at the moment. So I'm going to play Curiosity. If you have... When you have 4 or more in your cards in your hand, Curiosity gains that, while you have 7 or more cards in your hand. Okay, so unfortunately we only have 6 cards in our hand now. So we get 2 intellect icons, because we do have more than 4 cards. So that gives us a 6. I don't really want to commit any others. Do we need the flashlight? We might. Let's go with 6 versus 4. Or do we get the flashlight? I might go, yeah, I don't want to fail this. 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -3. Wow, I'm so glad I did that. So 2 intellect, 3, 7, 7 -3, 6, 5, 4. 4 versus 4. We don't lose any. Wow, that was good job. really. Okay, so we avoided the false lead. That was good. Okay, so we move into the investigation phase. Let's see what the level. Did I shuffle up the hunch deck? I'll just have a look. We get working a hunch. Discover a clue at your location. Fast play, and it's free. So why would you not use it? Because it doesn't cost anything and it's fast. So I am going to use it. So I'm going to discover a clue at my location. Look at that. So that's an example of where the hunch deck really did work. That's brilliant. Okay. So 3 actions onto Joe. First action, we are going to spend 2 clues. And we're going to bring out a cultist. Where's the cultist deck? Here's the cultist deck. We'll get rid of that. So the cultist deck, we'll shuffle up the cultist deck. And we will draw our first cultist, who happens to be Wolfman Drew. Oh, we believe in Wolfman Drew. No, no, no. And he's at downtown, of course. Yes, he's an interesting character, but you know what? We can take him on, so that's perfectly fine. All right. But however, we're still at Miskatonic U. So my second action, I guess we can try and get this clue here. And get it's a 4 versus a 4 though, and we've only got a deduction. That's kind of annoying, isn't it? Unless we... I've changed my mind. I don't want to use deduction, so instead of investigating... So we threw in the clues. I'm going to use my second action to move to north side. What am I doing? Control S. Control then flip. Yeah. And now we've got 1 action left. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to commit deduction to here because it's a shroud of 3, and now we are a 5. So we're a 3 versus a 5 here at north side. So the first thing we did was we got a fast action to get a clue from Miskatonic University. We did that. Then I moved to north side, second action. Third action, investigate here at north side with deduction. So we are a 4, 5 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a 0. So we succeed and we get both clues because of deduction. And not only that, we get a victory point. I'll put a damage on to show that. And the crowd goes wild. Yes, there we go. So a pretty good round all round, I think. Didn't go quite as I thought it would. But we started at Miskatonic University. We got working a hunch from our hunch deck, so we used that to get a clue. Our first action was to bring out Wolfman Drew. We then moved to north side. And we then investigated with deduction and got 2 more clues and a victory point. So what we will do next time is we will move in and kill Wolfman Drew. That's what we're going to do. So we will look forward to doing that next time. And then we've got to start preparing ourselves for the Mars Hunter. We're kind of already prepared in a way, so all good. We can probably bring out the 45 automatic at some stage as well, because the machete's great. But if you've got more than 1 enemy, you don't get the +1 damage. Okay, let's move into enemy phase. There is an enemy, Wolfman Drew, who's just sitting at north side, downtown, not north side. Where's downtown? Oh, he's at downtown. Yeah, we're at north side. Huh. Yeah. And then we move into upkeep. We get emergency cash. So much money, so little time. And then we move into the Mythos phase. There's now 4 dooms. So we really do need to kill Wolfman Drew next time because this is going to flip after that. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it has the Hunting Shadow. You must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. We will take the 2 damage. No problem. Yeah, there's no way we're getting rid of our clues. Okay, great. All right, let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto our hero, who's doing pretty well, but no cultists yet, so we need to do something about that. So first action, we will move to downtown. We've got to flip downtown. Doink. We can heal Thrill Horror here, not that we need to heal it. And okay, let's go ahead and fight Wolfman Drew. He's a 4/4/2, so 4 fight. So we are a 6, so it's a 6 versus a 4. Now the problem with, say, committing a vicious blow, because at the moment he's not a monster, so we wouldn't get a +1. We would only do 2 points. Vicious blow would make it a 3 points. It's kind of a waste because then we have to attack again anyway. So I don't want to commit those. So I'm just going to go ahead and straight up attack him. So we are, as I said, we're a 4, we're a 5, we're a 6. A 6 versus a 4. So we're 2 up. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we succeed and we do 2 damage. Unfortunately, we can't do 3 damage. And we will do that again. Chaos Bag gives us a +1. And he's dead. Or beaten into submission or whatever. Fantastic. Alright, so Crag goes wild as we achieve our next victory point and we get our first cultist out of the way. Brilliant. That went exactly according to plan. We moved into downtown. We engaged Wolfman Drew and we killed him. So that's brilliant. So we move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of. Oh, I forgot to do my... We could have actually used that. But we didn't want to parley with him. We wanted to kill him, so... never mind. Okay, so we move into the upkeep phase. We get the beat cop. Well, problem is we're kind of fine with Lita Chandler at the moment, so I don't think we'll be bringing out the beat cop anytime soon. No. So we move into the Mythos phase. There are now 5 Doom down. Okay, so let's see what the lovely encounter deck has for us. And we draw a locked door. Attached to a location with the most clues. That is definitely downtown. Yes. There we go. So we will put that to the back. There we go. It's at the back. So that makes... Ooh, that makes... Oh, okay. It doesn't add to the... You just got to break it down if you want to get the clues in there. Well, there's plenty of other clues. Anyway, so yeah. So there we go. That's the. Let me try that again. So the Masked Hunter will be on us next time. So what do? We obviously can prepare for him, although I don't think there's anything we can do. I'll just draw from the hunch deck, of course, and we get connecting the dots. Move it into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Joe. Now connecting the dots, it'll cost us 2 fast play after you discover the last clue at your location. Discover 2 clues at a location with a lower printed shroud value. Ooh, okay. That could be handy. Pity about the locked door, because we would have to break down the locked door. We would then have to get these 2 clues at a shroud of 4. Which wouldn't be easy, so I'm not really feeling that. I think what's better is we throw in 2 clues. First action. I just removed a resource. Try that again. We will throw in 2 clues. That's our first action, and we'll get our next cultist out. Obviously won't be at where we are. So let's have a look. We'll shuffle them up. And we get Peter Warren and Miskatonic. Okay. Yeah. So We just need to spend 2 clues to parley with him. So that's our first action. Our second action, I'm just being prudent here. I'm going to spend 4. And I'll bring out the 45 automatic. Because what I don't want to happen, it can happen, is the Mouse Hunter comes out and then I draw a Byakhee or something, and then you've got 2 people on you, and the machete no longer does the +1 damage. So it's probably more prudent to have both out. So that was my second action. My third action, I am going to move back to north side, because I can get 2 clues there, and then I can go and get Peter Warren. Rather than, and then so that'll be easy. So there we go. We are ready for the Mouse Hunter. All right. Okay. So all good. All good. That's our 3 actions. We basically we brought out Peter Warren. We brought out our 45, and then we move back to north side. Okay. So we move into the enemy phase. Peter Warren's just happily tinkering away with his stuff. I just noticed that's a rather nasty knife behind him. I suppose that's what he uses to fight with. And then we will move into the upkeep phase. We get the fingerprint kit. Yeah, good card. Fortunately, we don't have a hand slot at the moment. So there we go. That's the end of the upkeep phase. So we will move into the Mythos phase. There we go. Mythos phase. We're already, and there he is. Yes, we've only got 1 cultist so far, but we're about to get our second one. But we're really not really ahead of the curve. It's really hard in the Midnight Masks. It really is. But here we are. Hello. Like my jacket? Yes, Mouse Hunter. He's a 4/6/2, and he doesn't have retaliate, which is nice. But you can't discover or spend clues while he's engaged with you. So there you go. All right. Oh, I see. I think. Oh. It's thinking I'm going to have to pull out the other one because it's thinking it's. Yeah, so here we go. Agenda 2A. I never read out the agenda in the act, did I? Oh, see, it's been so long since I've done this, I forgot to do that. We'll do them now. Uncovering the conspiracy. You have 1 night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. Spend 2 clues as per investigator to draw the top card of the cultist deck. Find as many unique cultist enemies as you can. And we're now on time is running short. We have 8 turns. I should have put that back. Oh dear, I'm all over the place today, aren't I? Never mind. No biggie. Okay, so that's fine, but we need to draw from the encounter deck now. And the encounter deck, we draw a Acolyte. Okay, so yeah, we're fine at the moment. There's plenty of time. So I'm going to put the Acolyte at St. Mary's Hospital. Put a doom on him. So I could put him here. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm going to put him here. Because what we can do is we can get 2 clues. We can move. Oh no, we can't do that. I just realised we can't. So actually, I will put him here because I don't want to end up taking damage unnecessarily. Even though it's only 1 point, I just don't think it's necessary. Okay, so let's go ahead and fight. He's not a monster, so we can't get the +1 damage from Lita, but that's all right. He's a 4/5. We are a 4/5/6. So we're a 6 versus a 4. He's got 6 health, so we will be vicious blowing him. Sounds a bit wrong, really, doesn't it? We will be vicious blowing him. So that gives us a 7. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. A 7 versus a 4. I think that's pretty good. 7 versus 4. Let's see how we do. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we succeed. We do 3 points of damage. Ow! Yeah, we want that jacket. preferably without blood splatters on it if possible. So there we go, there's 3. We will go ahead and do that again. We will vicious blow the Mouse Hunter again. So that's a 4, that's a 5, that's a 6, that's a 7. A 7 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -3. So we succeed just, and that's another 3 points of damage. And so the Mouse Hunter goes down. Okay. There we go. That is that took 2 actions. Fight. So for our third action, we will spend our 5 resources. I realise I could have put actually the Acolyte here, but anyway, it's too late now. And we will get 2 clues from the token pool. There we go. Brilliant. So that was pretty successful. We killed the Mouse Hunter with 2 vicious blows with the machete, so that was all nicely aligned. Vicious blows, machete. It's funny when you do a vicious blow with a 45 automatic, but anyway, and we did the 6 points of damage to him. 2 victory points. Crag goes wild, of course, and we then spent 5 resources to get 2 more clues. So what we will do next time is we will move, we'll parley, and then we will, I don't know, maybe try and get this other clue perhaps. And then we probably need to deal with this Acolyte, but there's no big hurry. We've got plenty of time to deal with the Doom on the Acolyte. So that was the investigation phase. What did I forget? Delay the inevitable. Well, we wouldn't have used it anyway, so we will shuffle that back up. I do need to draw it though, because there is a weakness in there, of course. Okay, let's move into the enemy phase. There are enemies, but they're just sitting there. So we'll move into upkeep. We get physical training. Yeah, we did have quite a lot of resources, but we don't anymore. So might be using it for something else. All right, well, we'll move into the first Mythos phase of the final agenda. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us. And it's got another false lead. Oh, boy. Okay, we don't want to fail this one. So it's a 4 versus a 4. We can make that a 5 versus a 4 with the fingerprint kit. So a 5 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -2, so I think we lose a clue. Don't we? Yes, we do. 5 versus 4, -2 for each point on your location. Okay, well, that's bad because that means we lose the victory point there because we've dropped a clue there. Oh dear. Well, one clue isn't too bad. It's more disappointing that we've lost that victory point there. Now we could waste time trying to get it back, but you know, in the Midnight Marsh, you can end up running around doing stuff that at the end of the day is less important. So I'm going to leave it for now, particularly since I don't have much of a capacity. You know, it's a 3 versus a 4 basically. So I'm kind of, yeah. So what I would rather do is in the investigation phase, which we move into now, I will draw from the hunch deck and we get another, wow, you don't think I'd shuffle this, but I have. We get another delay the inevitable. We don't need that at the moment. So 3 actions onto Joe. So the first action is we will move to Miskatonic University. Peter Warren engages with us. We will then, for our second... Now, you know what? Do we spend the clues or do we just fight him? It would take 2 actions to fight him, so it is more efficient if we just spend the 2 clues. So I will spend the 2 clues. And he goes into the victory display and the crowd goes wild. There's 3 of our cultists. Crowd goes wild. That's great. So we have 1 action left. 1 action left here. We do need to deal with the Acolyte. What do we do? Do we draw a card? Do we try and get this clue? Do we search the top 6 cards of our deck for a tome or a spell? I don't think we've got either of those. But it would allow us, I suppose, to get rid of a weakness, kind of, but then it could come back. So let's just go a 4-on-4 and see if we can get this clue. Why not? We'll just try and investigate. Chaos Bag says -1, so we don't. There we go. Never mind. We tried. Okay, so that's the end of our go, which means we got another cultist. So we've got to get 2 more clues. So I think we pop down to St. Mary's Hospital. We get rid of the acolyte and probably get some more clues from there, and then hopefully we can bring out the next cultist enemy. Speaking of enemies, we move into the enema phase, and there is an enema, but he's sitting here with his doom, having his nice cup of, looks like he's having a cup of raspberry tea or something there. Oops, he spilt it. Oh dear. Quick, call the waiter. There we go. So end of enemy phase. So we move into upkeep and we get the Detectives Colt, which is 2-handed. Joe Diamond deck, 4 ammo, up to 2 tool assets you control do not take up hand slots. That's not a tool. That's not a tool. So unfortunately, so what you can do is, I think that's a tool. You could have your gun and you can have a fingerprint kit and you could have a flashlight all out at the same time, but unfortunately that's not the case. So I think we'll be using this for the pips and the wild card. There we go. Okay, so we move into the Mythos phase. There are now 2 doom down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. The encounter deck has another hunting shadow. You must either spend a clue or take the damage. I can't spend the clue, so I will take the damage. In fact, I will let Lita take the damage. She can take the damage this time. And so that's that. Okay, we'll move it back into the investigation phase. We will put 3 actions onto Joe. We will draw from the deck. Did I shuffle this? I'm gonna shuffle it and do it again. Sorry, I'm not sure if I did. Bloody hell. Okay, it is delay the inevitable. All right, so what are we going to do? Okay, first action, we will move to St. Mary's Hospital. Doink. There's a clue on here. Engage the acolyte. Second action, we will hit the acolyte. We'll machete the acolyte. So a 3 versus a 6. 3 versus a 6. Chaos Bag gives us a -4. 3 versus 6, so we miss. So we will hit him again. And we succeed and we kill him. Well, that was annoying. He took 2 actions. So that was all a bit of a waste of time, but that's all right. So what we will do now is we'll get this clue. We'll get over to Southside and we'll get another clue, and then we'll get out another cultist, because we've got 3 at the moment, but it would be good to get at least another 1. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies, so we move into upkeep and we get Curiosity. Oh, that's quite a good card because we can use it for the intellect pips, so that's good. And we only have a hand of 6, but that's all right. We move into I should have put this back in here and shuffled it up. We move into the Mythos phase, 3 down. We're really running out of time. Encounter deck has Obscuring Fog. It's just made that +2 Shroud. You are kidding me. That is annoying. So now this is a 4 Shroud location. It's like everything is conspiring to stop us from getting clues. Okay, we're in the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Joe. I'm getting a bit frustrated now because we want more cultists out, but getting clues has suddenly become a bit more challenging than it was before. So we can investigate St. Mary's Hospital with a Shroud of 4, or we could go back to Miskatonic University and do that one. We might as well do that for the victory point. So I'm going to move back to Miskatonic University, investigate, It's got a shroud of 4, and we are a 4, but I can use curiosity to make it an extra 2, so that's 6. 6 versus a 4. Chaos bag gives us a -2, so we succeed. That's right, isn't it? 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So we succeed. We get that clue, and we get the we get the victory point, and the crowd goes wild. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I am going to then move to north side. I'm trying to be as efficient as possible, and we will pick up this other clue in the victory point next time, and then we will bring out the next cultist. Hopefully it will be somebody like Devro, and then we'll be good. Because we're right there. So there you go. So we started at St Mary's Hospital, but because it had a shroud of 4, we moved up to Miskatonic University and successfully investigated there and got the victory point. And then, so that was move, investigate, and then we moved up to Northside. We're going to get this second clue next time and bring out the next cultist. Okay, so we move into the enemy phase. No enemies on the board at all. We've cleaned them all up. We move into upkeep. We get another dodge. Okay. And we move into Mythos, and we are halfway through. And we're really running out of time. It's getting really difficult to get cultists. We've kind of been delayed, as you always are in the Midnight Masks. Let's see what the encounter deck has. I can't believe this. Another obscuring fog. Attach it to your location. This is so frustrating. Right. Ah, boy. And I just had a feeling I might have forgotten to draw from the hunch deck last time. I'm sorry if I forgot. It is easy to forget, but I won't forget now. I'm glad I didn't, because I got working a hunch. So there we go. Brilliant. All right. Okay. So we can use this working a hunch. Fast play, discover a clue at the location. There we go. We got the clue. Brilliant. Okay. I will shuffle up the deck again. I'm always a bit paranoid about that. Okay. All right. So we've got the 2 clues. So we've got 3 actions. First action, we will spend the 2 clues, and we will bring out the next cultist. Shuffle them up. Who do we get? We do get Virginia Devereaux. That's actually great. I was hoping we would. Although we've only got 4. If only we had another resource. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay. Second action. Look, you know what? I'm going to play emergency cash and get 3 cash. So we take an attack of opportunity from Virginia. We take 1 damage. No big deal. And then for our third action, we will spend 5. And we will put Virginia in the victory display. And the crowd goes wild. There we go. So we've now got 4 cultists in the victory display. So who's left? Who haven't we had? There's 2 left. Oh, so we haven't had Ruth Turner, who's a bit of a problem for us because we've got to evade her, and we're only an evasion of 2. Well, we just fight her. And then we've got good old Herman Collins. But the other thing is we've got no clues. So what I'm thinking is we get ourselves to the graveyard, and hopefully we get Herman, but at the very least we'll get another victory point. Because the other alternative is to try and get the 2 clues here but unfortunately we would have to break down the door, and it's a shroud of 4, whereas the graveyard is only a shroud of 1. This is now a shroud of 4, so I think the most efficient thing would be just to move to the graveyard. That's what we'll do. Alright, the enemy phase, no enemies to speak of. We move into upkeep, we get another emergency cache. And then we move into the mythos phase and see what the encounter deck has. Encounter deck has another hunting shadow. I can't believe this. How many hunting shadows are there? Spend a clue, we can't. So we've got to take 2 damage. Okay, we will take 2 damage. It's getting a bit much, all that damage. But anyway, we will move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Joe. He's looking a bit battered and weary. Now we are basically going to just move in. We're going to spend all 3 clues to get ourselves to the graveyard. 2 clues in the graveyard, 1 shroud. After you enter the graveyard, test 3. If you fail, you must either take 2 horror. So we're a 2. Do we commit anything? Well, we could commit physical. Actually, I'm just going to fail it. Tablet. Well, we've got no clues. That's okay. So if I fail, all right, so I take the 2 horror. That's the way it works, isn't it? If you fail, you must either take 2 horror or move to return. So I just take 2 horror. No biggie. All right. So, yeah, we are looking a bit worse for wear now. In fact, I could put one of the horror onto Lita. So there you go. No biggie. I'd rather keep all these cards. We might need them. So next time we'll get these 2 clues. And I just realized I forgot to draw from the hunch deck again. Connect the dots. Yeah, okay. So we'll shuffle that up. I'll try and remember next time. I do apologize. It is a problem with this hunch deck to try to remember to keep drawing from it. All right, so the enemy phase, no enemies to speak of. So we move into upkeep, another machete. Well, we don't need that. We move into the mythos phase. 6 doom now. We are really close. We'll get, if we're lucky, we'll get 1 more cultist, which would give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we're lucky. Let's see how we go. So let's see what the encounter deck has for us. And it, Wings of Darkness. Oh no, really? Test 4. I don't want to. Well, this is such an annoying card. We could, so we're a 2, so we could go 3, 4, 5. 5 versus 4. Let's do it. 5 versus 4. Chaos Bag. Oh, boy. What a waste. So we take a damage and a horror. I think we're going to have to get rid of Lita. No. We'll take the damage and the horror. And we end up back here. Wow. How annoying. This is just... this is what really frustrates me about this scenario, is it does, it's so easy for things to get derailed. Anyway, we will move into the investigation phases. 3 actions on to Joe. Let's shuffle up and see what we get from the deck. And we get interrogate, which is no help. So we will move back to the graveyard. We've got a test 3, and we are a 2. Let's just go ahead and we fail. We'll put a horror onto Lita, and we will take a horror. Second action, investigate. 1 versus 4. We'll just do straight up 1 versus 4. Chaos Bag gives us a +1, so we get the clue. And we will do it again. We will investigate again. Chaos bag gives us another +1. And we get the second clue. And we get the victory point. And the crowd goes wild. That's brilliant. So that's another victory point. If we are lucky, we will get Herman Collins. Otherwise, I think we just go ahead and resign because I don't think there'll be enough time anyway. Because we had just all kinds of things just go awry. All right. So we move into the enemy phase. No enemies to speak of. We move into upkeep. We get amnesia. Choose and discard all but one card from your hand. Okay. That's actually really bad because if it is Herman Collins, it means we have to fight him rather than just throw in the cards. That couldn't have come at a worse time. My goodness. Talk about things just happening at the worst time. The Wings of Darkness, the amnesia where you discard all your cards just when you want to do that. All right, so we move into the Mythos phase. We've got one turn left. Let's see what the encounter deck has for us. Oh, what happened then? No, that was... I accidentally hit it twice. We get Crypt Chill. We get Crypt Chill. That was right. Yeah, we got the Crypt Chill. So we got Crypt Chill. Test 4. If you fail, discard something. Okay, well, we'll just have to go ahead and test it. We get an auto fail. My goodness, things have gone really terrible all of a sudden. So if we fail, we've got to discard something. I think we keep the machete and we get rid of the 45. There we go. So there we go. So we're in the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Joe. Let's see what the hunch deck has for us, and it's again got delay the inevitable. Okay. All right, so we've basically got 3 actions left. So the first action, we will spend 2 clues, and we will bring out the next cultist. I'll shuffle them up. And we bring out, Herman Collins. There we go. We brought out Herman Collins. Discard 4 cards from your hand. That is just a killer, isn't it? We could have done that, but we will spend 2 actions to kill him. We will go past midnight, but at least we will have gotten another victory point. So for our second action, we will attack Herman. He's a 3, and we are a 4. We are a 5. We are a 6. 6 versus 3. Chaos Bag gives us a tablet, which is -3. So that's a success, isn't it? 4, 5, 6. Yes. So we do 2 points of damage to Herman. And then for our final action, we will go ahead again. And we fail. I can't believe just how derailed this game got at the end. And we fail. Which means we move into the enemy phase. He does a damage and a horror to us. So we can take that, can't we? Yeah. So we take the damage and the horror. And then we move into the upkeep phase. And then we move into the Mythos phase. So we flip this card and the 12 bells ring out across the town. It is midnight. There's no time left to investigate the city. You must act based on the information you've collected and the cultists you have found. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Turn 15. We ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 victory points. So we ended up with 7 victory points and 4 cultists, nearly 5, but it wasn't to be. Unfortunately, towards the end of the game, things kind of just went a bit awry. We had some really bad chaos draws, some auto fails, -4s. We got Wings of Darkness, which sent us back to the river town. And then we failed on the final hit to get Herman Collins. We got Amnesia, which meant we couldn't just spend 4 cards as we would normally would with Herman Collins. So the whole thing just turned into a bit of a debacle at the end, which meant that Joe didn't do quite as well. On top of that, I was a bit all over the place with the hunch deck. I do apologize about that. It's hard to remember to keep drawing it. I need something in I don't know how to remind me to do that, but I think I did okay with the hunch deck. If I didn't, I do apologize. It's one of the problems with it. But there we go. Joe did pretty well. I think he'll be reasonably high up on the table. Not the fastest though, but he did okay. And that's Midnight Masks. That's one of the wonderful things about Midnight Masks. You never know how things are going to turn out. There was just some real synergies with the kind of negative sides of things, like the Amnesia coming just when we're trying to get rid of Wolfman Drew, which was just quite wonderful. So there we go. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, next time on the Investigator Games, who will be taking through the Midnight Masks? I should know this, but I don't, so I'm just having a look now. Who came after Joe on the Gathering last time? Let's have a look. So after Joe came Marie Lambeau. Yes, Marie Lambeau, the mystic and singer. She will be next in the Midnight Masks season 2 of the Investigator Games, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how she goes. But until then, I'm Krabby Terror 8. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.